Avatar: Way of Water left us with a pretty big cliffhanger and a frustrating end for its villain, if you ask me. James Cameron's monster of a franchise is back yet again this Christmas and is reportedly going to be bigger and better than Avatar has ever been before, which is pretty hard to believe. But I'm excited nonetheless, because according to Cameron, the world of Pandora is so much bigger than we once thought. Let's dive into what we know so far about Avatar: Fire and Ash. So before Fire and Ash comes out, we have a bit of catching up to do with the past 2 Avatar films, which together span over 6 hours worth of content. Taking place almost a decade past the events of the first film, Jake Sully, now the chief of the Amaticaya clan, struggles to protect his family and the rest of the Na'vi people from a new man-made threat. The RDA, a division of scientists from Earth determined to make Pandora their new home, threaten the local civilizations and ecosystems as they erect new operating bases across the planet. Sully leads the fight against the RDA, but his attack results in a rebuttal from the head of the Marines, Quaritch, who takes Sully's children and the human-born Spider into captivity. After finding out that Spider is in fact his biological son, Quaritch decides to use him to find out all he can about the Na'vi people, as well as their battle tactics, bases, and overall plan of attack. Fast forward a bit and we learn that a few head scientists aren't only in search of a new home, but are also looking to harvest a brain enzyme for creating an anti-aging remedy named Amarita from the Tolkiens, a whale-like species on Pandora. In an attempt to collect this enzyme and simultaneously draw out Sully from hiding, Quaritch orders a poaching of the Tolkiens. But Sully's children and their friends, while out on a spree, are caught in the crossfire and taken into captivity once again by the human Marines. Sully's oldest son, Neytiri, is fatally shot while saving his siblings. Jake, Quaritch, Neytiri, and Took end up trapped inside the sinking military vessel. Eventually, they all manage to escape, but when Spider has the perfect opportunity to kill his evil father, he chooses mercy and lets him live. Which, if you ask me, was incredibly frustrating considering how much of a danger he is to Pandora. In the end, Sully offers to leave the Metkayina, acknowledging the trouble he's brought to their tribe, but they refuse, welcoming him and his family to stay.
You are Metkayina now.
Sully agrees, vowing to keep his people safe from any human invaders. Way of Water seems pretty hard to top. I mean, it's the 3-hour-long storyline and has revolutionary graphics that revived a fandom that had been asleep for over a decade. So, what's Fire and Ash going to bring to the table? Well, just a few days ago, we received our first full-length trailer for Avatar's 3rd installment, and it gives us a pretty good jumping-off point for putting together some plot predictions. First, I think it's safe to say that Quaritch and Jake will have a duel. After all, thanks to Spider so annoyingly saved him, he's still a problem. And the trailer confirms his return. I don't think he'll be the main villain, but we'll get to that later. We see Quaritch bargain with our new big bad, Varang, trying to convince her that he can help her bring down Sully and his people. But to be honest, I don't see this alliance lasting very long. Nevertheless, Sully and Quaritch have it out for each other, so they will no doubt have a massive battle, but hear me out. Sully won't survive this time. There's a line in the trailer that really stood out to me. Sully tells his now oldest son, Loak, to protect his sisters. I don't know why, but this felt like a final order that Loak will dedicate his life to after the passing of his father. I could be wrong, but that line really heightened my suspicions. Of course, whether or not Sully will die, I do think at one point or another, we will see him return to Earth. After so many years living as an avatar, this would surely be a jarring experience, not only for Sully, but for the audience as well. We haven't seen Sully in his human form since 2009, and I think it would be a great reminder for the audience and his kids to see Sully in his true form, as he technically isn't like them at all. How could this happen? Well, it's not out of the question for Jake to be captured by Quaritch and brought to the Bridgehead City. It would make sense for them to bring Jake back to his human form and use it as a negotiation/interrogation tool. After all, given the shape of Jake's earthly body, he poses much less of a threat compared to his avatar form. James Cameron's Avatar has a new villain, and she could very well be a bigger threat to Pandora than anyone, including Sully, ever imagined. So just who is Varang? Well, she's the leader of one of the two new clans being introduced in Fire and Ash. The Ash clan, meaning she's the first Na'vi character to be a main villain. So far, it seems that the Ash clans will be portrayed as enemies of the other clans, but we will most likely learn that this is somewhat justified. From the trailer alone, we learn that Varang's people were brutally murdered, and this will probably have something to do with either the humans or the other Na'vi clans, leading to her burning hatred towards the protagonists. But considering her anger also seems to be pointed at Pandora's life source, I worry for the decisions she'll make throughout the film. Varang mentions that she holds contempt for Eywa, as she believes her people were left to die and no one, including Eywa, came to their aid. So it would not surprise me in the slightest if she somehow manages to kill Eywa for good. The consequences of this would be unimaginable. Would the Na'vi people immediately die? I mean, surely not, but like I said, I can't even begin to think how big of an impact Eywa's death would have. However, I think after learning how brutal Varang can be, it will inspire Quaritch to switch sides. I'm honestly surprised he stuck around as long as he has for 3 movies. I'd love to see him switch to Sully's team, allowing the military to join their efforts with the Na'vi people against the Ash clan. Alright, let's talk casting. Of course, we have our stars, Sam Worthington, Zoe Saldana, Sigourney Weaver, and Kate Winslet returning to the cast, all of which truly make the film something extraordinary. We will also see Sully's children return, along with Spider and his father, Quaritch. In terms of new castings, we have an entirely new tribe being introduced, along with a number of new actors. But our most intriguing additions to the Avatar team include Unya Chaplin as Varang and David Thewlis as Pelak. Avatar Fire and Ash is set to release exclusively in theaters on December 19, 2025 by Walt Disney Studios, 3 years after Way of Water, which premiered back in 2022 during the holiday season. James Cameron's Avatar is genuinely one of the most impressive franchises of all time. Actors Sam Worthington and Zoe Saldana leave me wanting more every single time, and I can't wait to see what the world of Pandora has to offer in its 3rd return to theaters. What did you think of these Avatar theories? Will it end with an even bigger cliffhanger than Way of Water? Will Sully's journey come to an end, leaving his son to take his place, or is this just the beginning? What do you think of Varang? Will she spell the end of Pandora as we know it? Let me know your thoughts in comments below, and don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more theories just like these. Thanks again for watching ScreenRant, and I'll see you in the next one.